Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to... Wait a second. This is the Andrew Carr LLC Carnivorous channel. What am I doing here? This is typically my library car spot. What? Oh, that's it. That's why I just remembered. Actually, I've always remembered, but I'm doing it for comedy. Uh so anyway, okay. So on July 27th, I put out a poll on, well, this very YouTube channel because the library card channel won't let me. And basically, I put out a poll saying, hey, I'm wanting to do a actual like book review for the library card channel, which, if you already know, if you don't already know, rather. It was originally my second channel, but now I've converted it into a book review channel. But so far, I've only done like book haul videos and things like that, which are fun. But, book reviews is what I'm also shooting for when it comes to that channel. So, I put out a poll once more saying, hey, what book would you all like me to review? And I put out three options: Stephen King, Terry Pratchett, specifically the Discworld series back here, and a random book. So just a random book off my shelf. And it went on for I set it to August 1st, which as of recording it's August 2nd, which is also when I should be uploading this video. And what did the polls ultimately say? Well, it was also cross-platform. So, there was YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, yada, yada, yada. You want to know the results. So, random got, a random book, off my shelf. So, just, for random's sake. I didn't actually say this was a choice, but, just as an example of a random book to cover, the first thing I grabbed. This is the first book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. Again, I might cover this sometime, keyword sometime, because Malazan is a challenge in and of itself. But that, I just chose that because it was the first book I saw. But random only got 3 votes. Terry Pratchett, Discworld, got 4 votes. But the one that ultimately came out on top was Stephen King. And I will say, to those who did vote, thank you for voting. Your voice was heard, and it ultimately has resulted in this video being made. And also for me to actually cover books in the future. So, but to the people who voted for Discworld, do not worry. I have pretty much half the series, almost half anyway. So don't worry. These babies are going to be covered at some point. I don't know why I said it that way, but you get what I mean. I'm going to cover these books anyway at some time. But Stephen King ultimately came out on top, and with a specific recommendation from one of the voters. So through that vote and that recommendation, the first book that I will be covering for the library car, that's not a haul video, or basically a review regardless of this poll of Discworld, but the first book that I'm going to cover, I think I just showed it by accident, but you've already seen it. It's the first book of the Dark Tower series, The Gunslinger. Now here's the funny thing about The Gunslinger. I've already read this book, but it's been long enough to where I think I can cover this again. And as an additional bonus, I've only read book 1 of The Dark Tower. I've never actually read the whole series. So I'm hoping that through the library car, I'll be able to cover the whole Dark Tower, which I have hidden behind this just monstrous bookshelf of Stephen King books. It's all behind the books back there. So, yeah, so the first book that will be covered on the library car will be The Gunslinger, Book 1 of The Dark Tower, which, if you're also a watcher of the library Carr, well, let me pull this book out real quick. If you watch my video on the library Carr, you will also know that a few months ago I recently came in purchase of the original Gunslinger. Now, I will, for the purposes of the review, I will cover this version because this is the revised, expanded version. I might cover this one at a later date. I might even bring this version up in the review itself when I do read this. So yeah, so it's not like this isn't going to ever be covered, but just for convenience's sake, and also because Stephen King pretty much put out this version so that the Gunslinger would function better within the whole Dark Tower series, I'm going to be reading this version, which I also am aware is a movie tie-in version, but it's the only revised, expanded version of the Gunslinger which I have, so I'm going to be reviewing this one. Again, I would just love to thank everyone who voted for the poll. More and more, I'm starting to also realize maybe I should have put out a video on the library Carr sort of explaining it, but I'll do that next time if we do another poll. So again, thank you all for voting. It was great sort of keeping watch of the scores and keeping track of the votes and stuff. And yes, and soon, I can't say specifically when, but soon we will begin our journey on the path of the Dark Tower, which I think journey and path are the same exact thing. But we will be beginning our path. We'll begin traveling the path of the beam to the Dark Tower fairly soon. I won't say specifically how soon, but definitely soon. So, this has been Andrew Carr. Here at the library Carr, even though it's Andrew Carr LLC, but I also might post this video on the library Carr channel. I'm not quite sure yet. But yeah. So again, thank you all for voting. First book we're gonna cover on the library Carr, The Dark Tower, Book 1, The Gunslinger. So I'll see y'all then. Take care.